What's up guys, I'm Matt. Welcome to my new kitchen. My wife and I recently moved and this is our new place, soon to be called Papa Matt's Kitchen. That's right, my wife and I are expecting our first child mid to late August, so I'm very excited to be stepping into fatherhood very soon. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into why you really clicked this video, and that's to learn how to cook smoked beef tenderloin. Now, there's typically two ways you can do that. One is using indirect heat with charcoal. And to do this, you would put the charcoal on one side of the grill and then put your meat on the opposite side. There's ways you can increase the flavor of the meat using like wood chips, or maybe putting a tray of apple juice underneath your beef tenderloin on the opposite side. But that takes a lot of work. You have to babysit and make sure that the temperature does not fluctuate too much. And since this is a low and slow, you want to make sure that the temperature stays between 220 and 230 degrees Fahrenheit. But today, we're actually going to be using a more hands-off approach, and we're going to be using a pellet grill. Now, there's tons of different types of pellet grills out there. I'm not going to tell you which one you should get. I will say that I personally am going to be using a campchef. It was a gift, and it is a pleasure to work on it. It is amazing. I wouldn't choose anything else. If you haven't seen the commercial, I'll leave the link in the description down below. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Now, I will say this, you need to make sure that you have at least an internal temperature gauge. I bought this at Walmart. It's like under $10. It comes with batteries. Very easy to use, has two buttons, on, off, and a switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So very easy to use. Definitely use this. You'll need it. Other than that, you don't really need much else besides, seasoning and marinade and time. So, with that being said, before we can enjoy the smoky enlightenment, we need to make one. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we?
Alright, to start things off, you'll want to get your meat marinating. For this, I'll be using Grill Mates brown sugar, bourbon seasoning, along with Worcestershire sauce. I usually let it marinate several hours before I put it into the smoker. Here, I had already put my seasoning on and left it in the fridge for a few hours. I like to take it out of the fridge about 30 to 40 minutes before I plan on putting it into the smoker, so it has time to get down to room temperature and to add a final layer of seasoning to the meat. Now, I would like to say that if you don't have seasoning with brown sugar already in it, add about 1 to 2 tablespoons to your dry rub. Trust me, this will do wonders in a low and slow cook like this. And now, just let it sit there and taunt you for about 30 minutes. Don't forget to give your smoker enough time to get up to temperature. I set it for between 225 and 230 degrees Fahrenheit. Be sure to have plenty of wood pellets in the feed, and it never hurts to have some extra in a bag just in case. Once up to the desired temperature, it's time to put the meat on. Try not to leave the lid open for too long, as doing so will drastically drop the temperature. Put your meat in the smoker and drizzle some of that marinade over the top before closing it back up. If you have an internal temperature device, now is a good time to set it up. The campchef has 2 built-in plugs, so I typically just use those. Once your meat hits 160 degrees Fahrenheit, it's time to pull it out and let it rest for a few minutes before cutting into it. And that's it, guys. I mean, just look at how perfectly cooked this is. Nice and juicy, and that perfect smoke ring. Now, just finish cutting up your smoky loins and serve it up with your favorite side dish.